CEO challenged the single dad in front of her team. "Fix the generator, I'll kiss you right now." The rain poured like it had no intention of stopping, drumming against the glass walls of the corporate headquarters where 50 employees stood in the dim glow of emergency lights. The entire city block had gone dark after a massive storm knocked out power, and the backup generator, the one piece of equipment meant to save them, had sputtered out, leaving silence heavy in the room. At the center of it all stood Evelyn Hart, the brilliant but intimidating CEO of Hart Technologies. Known for her sharp words and unshakable authority, she now faced a crisis in front of her restless team. "Looks like our million-dollar systems are worthless without a spark," she muttered, her voice carrying both frustration and challenge. Then, almost out of exasperation, she turned toward the man standing quietly near the corner, the janitor. His name was Daniel Reyes, a single dad who had joined the company a month ago, mopping floors and fixing leaky faucets to provide for his 6-year-old daughter. Evelyn's eyes narrowed, and with a sharp tone meant half as a dare, she said, "Tell you what, Mr. Reyes, if you can fix that generator in front of all of us, I'll kiss you right now." The room erupted in laughter, some nervous, some mocking, as Daniel shifted uncomfortably. For Evelyn, it was a sarcastic remark, a way to diffuse tension with humor laced in arrogance. But for Daniel, it was different. He wasn't thinking about the kiss or the audience, his thoughts darted to his little girl at home, asleep with her asthma inhaler by the bed. If the storm lasted, power outages would spread, and pharmacies might close. He couldn't afford excuses, he had to prove himself, if not for pride, then for survival. Daniel stepped forward, his calloused hands trembling slightly, not from fear of failing in front of the CEO, but from the weight of responsibility he always carried. He knelt beside the hulking machine, listening to the hush of whispers from the crowd, words like, "He's just a janitor," and "This will be embarrassing." He had once been more than this. Before his wife's illness drained their savings, he had studied mechanical engineering, even apprenticed in repair shops. Life had forced him down another road, but knowledge, unlike money, never truly left. The generator was soaked from the leaks in the roof, the wires frayed from neglect. Daniel worked steadily, stripping away corrosion, adjusting the fuel lines, and wiping away rainwater with his sleeve. Minutes stretched long, but silence filled the room, an entire company holding its breath. Finally, with one last adjustment, Daniel pressed the ignition. The machine sputtered, groaned, and then roared to life. The lights flickered back on, flooding the office in golden brilliance. The employees gasped, some cheered, but the loudest sound was the sudden quiet that fell over Evelyn Hart. Her mocking challenge had just been met by the quietest man in the room. Daniel stood up, sweat dripping down his temple, his chest rising and falling. He didn't look at her for approval, he only glanced toward the window, where the rain was beginning to lighten, as though the storm itself recognized his small victory. Evelyn stepped forward, her heels clicking against the polished floor, the sharp edge of her persona softening as she approached him. For the first time, her voice trembled, not with arrogance, but with something closer to awe. "How did you?" she began. Daniel shrugged lightly, his eyes tired yet gentle. "Sometimes the world underestimates the hands that clean the floors," he said. "But those same hands can build, repair, and fight for what matters." His words struck her harder than the thunder outside. She realized the kiss she had thrown out as a joke wasn't about romance at all, it was about dignity, respect, and the acknowledgement that every person has worth far beyond the labels society pins on them. Slowly, she extended her hand, a gesture far more profound than the kiss she had promised. "Thank you, Mr. Reyes," she said, her voice carrying humility. "Not just for saving us tonight, but for reminding me what leadership really means." The room erupted in applause, not for Evelyn, but for Daniel. Some employees who had laughed earlier now looked ashamed, while others smiled with genuine admiration. In that moment, a janitor was no longer invisible. He was the man who lit up a building, not only with power but with truth. As Daniel left that night, raincoat draped over his shoulders, he thought only of his daughter. He imagined her smile when he told her the story. Not about the CEO or the kiss, but about how her father proved that no one is ever just anything. Everyone carries strength, skill, and purpose, even if the world chooses not to see it. Evelyn, meanwhile, stood by the window long after everyone had gone. She felt something shift inside her, a realization that leadership wasn't about commanding respect through fear, but about recognizing the quiet warriors who walk beside us every day. She knew tomorrow would be different. Policies would change, opportunities would open, and maybe, just maybe, Heart Technologies would become a company where kindness mattered as much as success. And so, a single dad fixing a broken generator became more than a storm story, it became a spark of humanity, a reminder that respect is the truest kiss one can ever offer.